not easy. But they don't do that. Instead, look at the arrow. The arrow comes in here, and look, it loops around. They go back to Lystra. They go back to Iconium. They go back to Antioch, the place where they had just tried to kill Paul. They had him banished from the city. And he goes back. And he goes down to Perga and Italia, and then eventually back to the starting point of their mission. What could make a person in that situation turn away from their home? What could possibly motivate somebody who had just been beat to a bloody pulp, who had been on their feet for so long, say, you know what? Home is not where I need to go right now. Paul does just this. The only way to really find out is to see what Paul says. Look at these two verses here. You know what? They're not there. So I'll read them to you. Verse 22 says this: Paul and Barnabas strengthened the souls of the disciples and encouraged them to continue in the faith. In verse 23, the following verse, it says, they appointed elders for them in each church. With prayer and fasting, they entrusted them to the Lord, in whom they had come to believe. Many people had come to believe in Jesus. True Christians attempt to live their lives according to what the Bible teaches. They strive to live their lives in that way. They strive to worship God. They strive to come together. They strive to go apart and to honor God in everything that they do. They come together to learn. They go apart to teach others. We challenge and motivate each other when we come together. We learn, we teach one another, we encourage, and we grow together like a team striving for excellence. When we mess up, we help each other back up. When we mess up, which we do, we help each other back up. We dust each other off, and we get each other back on track. This is part of what the church is for. This is why true Christians gather together each week, because God tells us to. So Paul and Barnabas went back. They turned away from Paul's hometown. They went back to check on the Christians, to establish the churches. Many people think that the organized church is a thing of modern day, something that God never intended. But here, even at the very beginning, they organized the churches and set up leadership. They call them elders. These elders serve as team captains. Every team needs a coach. Every team needs captains. What's the job of the team captain? Anyone? What's the team captain do?
Lead.
They motivate the team. What else?
They lead.
They lead the team. What else? I mean, those are good. That's what they do. They unite the team, right? The team could be falling apart. All right, come on, we got to pull this thing together. They lead, they motivate, they encourage, they challenge. Come on, pick it up. I know you can do better than that. Sometimes they substitute. You need some time off. Get somebody else in. Coach. What's a coach do? A lot of the same stuff. Some other things too, though. He teaches. Trains. See, while the captain is out on the field with you, the coach is kind of on the sidelines, watching. And they have a unique perspective on how the game is going, or how the practice is going. And they can see if the team is dragging. And they can see if somebody in the team is dragging. So the coach also motivates, challenges, gets people moving. But he also teaches and trains. The best way a team wins, really the only way a team wins, is when they work together. Who's your favorite basketball player? Anybody like basketball? No? Football. Wyatt, who's your favorite?
Favre.
Who is it?
Favre.
Favre? Is it F-A-R-B? Is that right? Brett Favre. Okay. Brett Favre. What does he play? Quarterback. Okay. So he's the guy that passes and throws. Right? Sometimes he runs. Could he beat the other team? Who's the worst team in NFL right now? That was a loaded question, wasn't it? I heard Dolphins, I heard Eagles. Take the worst team in the NFL and the best quarterback and pit them against each other. Who's going to win? The team is going to win. I don't care how good the quarterback is. Every time, he may get a touchdown or two, against the Eagles, right? But in the end, the team is going to win. When I was in Vacation Bible School, there was I was just a little guy, and there was some teenagers there, some twins, the Doherty twins. Do you remember the Doherty twins, Pete?
They were brothers.
Brothers. They weren't twins. I thought they were twins. They looked so much alike. Timothy, and what was the other one? Dennis. Timothy and Dennis, they were leading the games. And they said, okay, you 25 kids, we 2 teenagers are going to compete against you in soccer. And they played on the high school team. So these guys were big stuff. And they said, we need one person to play goalie. And then I jumped up and down. They said, okay, you can play goalie for us. I'm like, yeah, we got this game in the bag. Look how tall these guys are. They're twice as tall as everybody else. And they play soccer to boot. We've got this game. I won't even have to block any goals. They'll just run it right down, pass it back and forth, in the goal and go. Do you know, I don't think we scored a single goal. And not only did I have to block a lot of goals, but I missed a lot of goals too. And we lost terribly. They sat us down afterward and said, what did you expect to happen? And we all said, well, we thought you would win. We thought you would win. You're bigger, you're stronger, you're faster, you're more experienced. They said, what happened? I said, your team worked together. You have 25 kids running out here. All you needed to do was pass the ball where we weren't. And your team is better than even us 2 and this little puny goalie we got here. And that was a very important lesson for me. It can be an important lesson for us because Satan has a team.